level 3, and level basically level 2. And so with of course we discussed how we going to how to plan our research then in the event eventually at the end of year 3, or if not, then in the future year. And we actually have the solid plan, also laid out solid foundation, will get published in produce top publications, publication or research output. Of course, top publications or research outputs have different definition, and we use, for example, for simplicity or for convenience, we stick to we use the ABS ranking as example. So we classify as the 4-star, but 4-star is more than just ABS 4-star ranking. It's more on impact and more on the contributions, and also under 3 and 2. And first of all, we need to know that better what are actually top journals or the top publication, actually what this can be classified as top publications. What's actually 4-star publications means. Everyone, we all know it means originality, significance, rigor. Significance, originality is novel contribution to literature and to theory, and also it has impact. Also, it's and very rigorous research, so very rigorous research method. So then so this is our top 4 journal publications. We're going to have compare the between 2 and 4 and 3 and 4, so we know better why our paper, for example, like can publish only in 2 or only in 3, and some very good papers can be published in 4. So just have a brief look between 2 and 4. The key difference is the two publications, 2-star publications. It is research question interesting, and the contributions are marginal. That would be the comments by the journal editors and by the reviewers. And well, from a theory point of view, it's applied theory. It basically applies theory to a particular context or the setting. And research method, yes, it is good enough. It's good enough. It is must be rigorous too. It's rigorous, and the writing, in terms of the discussion and exposition of the result and finding, and lay down for the future research and implication, it is reasonable. But as compare with ABS4, they have to address fundamental and resolve research questions, right? So this is research and resolve the problems, and also extend the challenge of synthesize existing theory. So it is extend major challenge to the existing theories, or synthesize and combine different contexts and resolve and answer the questions. And also it has to be it is the journal, the writing, the very the critical discussion of the result, and also the implication and the future research. So that's the ABS. That's the 4 journal top publications. So it is written for they have the strong contribution to scholar theory, scholar debates. They have the novel theory angles, and basically they have provide a clear answer to unresolved research questions. And so this is how we classify it as the 4 journal top. And have another look at between 3 and 4. So that's we have better understanding why our papers can reach 3 rating journals, and then as opposed to the 4 rated journals. It is the contribution, what editors and reviewers would normally commented. Yes, it's very interesting, relevant, important research questions, and also the contribution. Yeah, it is extended the further the existing research, and method need to be solid and rigorous, and he has clear evidence to support the theory, argument, and hypothesis. And so this is it does add impact for you know, on the to literature, contribute to literature, and also to theory, and potentially impact on you know, on practice and policy, as opposed to 4 we have just discussed. So we have already seen the progressing from rated 2 output, which is basically it's just interesting, incremental, and applied theory, moving to 3 quality 3 rated output. It is extension and refine, and solid research evidence and method evidence, and risk, of course, for publication. Top publication will be basically it is the advance the standard literature, and potentially challenge the, you know, the existing theory, and also you know, answer and resolve the questions. So novel evidence based on the very rigorous research method. So having all this, you know, the different requirements by different rated journals, then by this in mind, we need to consider how we're going to develop our papers and upgrade our projects to that level, top level. But it's a step by step, and of course, first of all, we need conduct a self-assessment. Where am I now, and what is missing? So we all have our research portfolio, and we need to re-examine, see, keep updated with current literature, and also really be abreast with what's going on in the world, in the society, and in policy sphere. And we need to consider then whether our current research portfolio, current research ideas still relevant and still interesting. And for example, for all the past few years, sustainability is very popular, and it's very popular. So many of us set up our research portfolio on sustainability, but whether it is still the case in, for example, as we are now. So that need to be re-examine our research portfolio, and we conduct a research, for example, like audit or research portfolio. Our, for example, research idea is still interesting, relevant, or how about research method? And are we, for example, what research capability, research method of, for example, our own of ourselves and also our team have, and to implement, to conduct such the things we need to consider first of all, and in the meantime, we identify our bottleneck. For example, whether our, you know, in our research portfolio or research idea and research direction, basically research directions still a novel, still have the prospect of producing a top publication, research output. And how about the resources? For example, like we need to assess our own resources within, for example, given the resources, what we can do by individual researchers within the team, and also the resources, including, for example, like data. Data also is one of the most important resource than for the top journal publication. Okay, so then and also strategy overall. So over the recent period and over next longer medium term and longer term, our strategy, whether, for example, I consider this research direction, this research currently in our portfolio of research, or the booster project, it can, in 2 or 3 years, can still be leading. So that's something we need to consider. And we need to consider, many of us, for example, give example, many of us have done quite intensively in sustainability in past years, whether that topic is still, you can bring more to the literature, bring more novel evidence, that's become questionable, but something else now emerging and faster moving forward. For example, such artificial intelligence, we just discussed that, and large language model, and using that, the multimodal data is not available, become available now. So whether that should be, so we need to do the audit and reconsider our research portfolio. If we identify our research become out of date or obsolete, then we need to change the direction. Reorganize the resources and forming new teams and so on, then to and move forward from there. Right. So then there's okay. So starting points for many of us, or potentially all of us, is moving. A starting stage would be from the 2-level publication output to the 4-level output, and to address whether our study, our portfolio research, still address important social, industry, or scientific problems, and we need to check that, and also the and we need you really think carefully what actually the new research question, new phenomena emerging, and in terms of social or the policy at social level, policy level, what are new research issues, what are future research costs, basically. So that's guide how we're going to position our research for the next, from 1 to 3 years, or even longer term. And so, of course, then we the more concrete step taking forward, there are quite a lot of detailed steps that need to be taken forward, to be taken. Then, for example, we've got to examine, for example, like what's a theory, and which can be potentially be the foundation for our future research questions. Or are you going to, for example, consider there are some you have made some theory breakthrough, or the other, for example, what's available, the new method with new methodology, new methods. So this needs to be reconsidered. For example, especially given the let's see, the current, the new research method, artificial intelligence, machine learning, large language model available. A lot of research already moved into that territory for 2 years now. Yeah. So whether we have now actually, stay ahead of us, that's the key question. It's a key question. It is a prerequisite actually for publishing in top journals. So it is very important. We need to make sure that our research project we're planning to do are actually relevant. It is the ahead of other people, ahead of others, then enable that you publish in the enable produce the high quality publication research project. And just an example here, the feasible but ambitious publication plan. For example, we are going through, developing through different stages, starting from, for example, the fundamental stage, which probably 2 rated journals, then moving to the developing stage, which is 3 rated journals or 3 quality publications, then move to the high, which is the 4 the top journal publications, This is just an example of how to manage this project, but in the meantime, we need multiple projects. In the meantime, implementing multiple projects. So I would say, for example, the 3-tier publication pipelines. In our research portfolio, we cannot just publish everything in top journals. We have some in 3, some in 4. So this how we construct our portfolio. And the top ideas, we should aim really high, top 4 journals, top journals. And well, there are some incremental contributions. We aim at 3, aim at 3. And some other research ideas, yes, maybe the past project and so on, you probably can develop and get out of your portfolio as quickly as possible and publish in it, publish in 2 journals and so on. So this is the plan. In the research portfolio, we talk about research portfolio. Then we have 3 tiers of publication plans. Yeah, and also develop this pipeline stage by stage, the pipelines, and ideally, you already have some papers already. You've written some papers, and also some people already under review, or under our process, the process in our stage. Well, of course, if it is, if you think that your draft can, you try to make it to reach 3, then, for example, in a tier 1 stage, then you try to, submit, try to develop a paper for tier, at tier 1 stage for the 3 journal publications. Then, for example, in the next year, then you upgrade current research project with a stronger theory framing and robust, the method. It can then target the ABS4 or the ABS4 borderline. So this is the a portfolio. Your portfolio may include a different, the publication targeting different level of journals, and also for the very top ideas, then target the 4 journals, really starting working on that from day 1. And that includes a range of efforts, including, the finding research, the research gaps already, and formalize the research questions and theory framework, and also collecting the data. This data could be quite unique data set, including, for example, could be potentially just hand collected data, and could be potential just some data you bought, quite expensive data, or just using using the Python scrape the data. So it's all possible now. Multimodal data, including for example, like not just textual analysis data, textual analysis, the speeches, and the image and all sorts of this data. It is the lay the good foundation for potentially producing some unique findings. So unique data have lay some unique data, give us room for developing the unique findings. So it is the portfolio within the portfolio. We have some projects first tier, some projects second tier, and third tier. So it's a feasible in terms of developing just one project. It can starting stage, then gradually moving towards higher stage, the medium levels developing stage, and then eventually breakthrough. So this is, I mean, a project does take a long time to develop. So it's also most cases a teamwork.
Can I ask a question, Jim, about the conversation with potential target journals? You have a prestigious role as an editor with journals. So what does that look like? Could perhaps the audience would benefit from some insight into how to approach a conversation with editors about potential work? Because I realise that would be a delicate.
Yeah. Well, what I mean, it means then, for example, there are some journal organized the journal conference, and I think that's a conference. But you can potentially go there and discuss with the peers, which are all interested in that particular, the theme, the workshop, and also the editors usually will be there, right? So I think, and sometimes you can always discuss with, if you get opportunity to meet with editors and have a conversation, have a discussion. And so that's all very possible. And also special issues, let's put that, and in that context too. There's for example, like special issues, and you can also organize special issues if you have brilliant idea, write a proposal, and approach the editors, and you can organize special issues. And in that circumstances, then you have direct connection with editors, with you yourself also get editors, so you manage the whole procedure, and then better than how the journal or a paper being judged by reviewers, by editors. So I mean you got the portfolio of the research output. Yes. Later I will explain a bit more about how you build your network and build with visibility. And so it is a package. It's not just close your door and write a piece of paper. And I mean, that would be great if you can do that by yourself, but most cases probably that's going to be teamwork, and also involve the external conversations with range of the stakeholders. Like you go into conferences, like you have, you try to connect with senior researchers, set up the connection and collaborations. So all this should be the package, should be considered into your research portfolio, not just closed door and writing a piece of paper, a paper, right? So
it's also, I just wanted to contribute to his question. There is also an interesting trend for early screening of papers, especially for special issues. When they announce special issues, they organize webinars and the workshops, and then the authors present their preliminary ideas, and then they are discussed just before the papers are even arranged or stamped. So at the end of the day, they get actual preliminary feedback, which can help them improve their papers along the way.
Yeah, indeed. For example, many journals have their own conference, such as for example, European Counting Review, British Counting Review. the top journal counting, they all have their own conferences. They have their own conferences. That's a good opportunity to go and to make yourself, you know, you'll see people around in the conference, the peers, and also the the editors. So yeah, I think it's it's part of the it should be part of the portfolio. Yes, I try to developing external engagement, external conversation with senior researchers and potentially journal editors. Yeah, journal editors. Of course, I mean, as a part of support, we can always arrange such workshop to our faculty at the school. We can do that. Yeah, as it is part of support, and I mean, I mean, internal support we should get also should be part of this our research plan. We're not just working without support. We're working with the support by the university, by faculties, and yes, they support us, and we probably need more support, but we need to make sure that our supports needed and made the school knows our support that we need. Any questions here? Okay. Right. So in terms of ourselves, in design feasibility ambitious plan, individual publication plan. Well, when you start projects, I mean, it's not because you have the data, then you make a start. If you don't have good research questions, don't start. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. So I think it's quite important on that. I mean, yes, we have some data set here. We have quite a lot of data set, quite big data set. But then, so we have the data set doesn't mean then we follow a few top journal papers, then we can publish then. But unfortunately, it's not the case. Probably maximum can publish a 3 journal or even 2. It is we really need to have very good research questions, searching for good questions, of course, finding gaps and identify the significance of research questions before we should make a start. That's crucial to any, the success of any projects. So without good research questions, even though you have unique data, will make start until you make sure that research question is really important, relevant, will be potentially very relevant to the contribution to literature. And yes, okay. So I mean, the crucial thing here is need to make sure that we have the I mean the unique research questions, and also the potentially that the paper can make contribution to literature, and also we need to get hold of data, because of this demand, this quite important steps and range of skills needed. You need to identify those questions and getting data, unique data. You need collaboration, teamwork. So it's a teamwork, and of course, sole authors papers we see from time to time, but probably that majorly are either theoretical papers or they actually the project they've been working for a long time. Yes, otherwise, given the current demand, I mean the critical, the publishing and collaboration probably very important should be considered in your portfolio research plan, and who you should collaborate with, and how you get connected with this, the potential collaborators you like to collaborate with. So that this is the reason why I'm mentioning go out and talk and build a network, and go out to the conferences dedicated, especially targeted conferences, and talk to potential peers and collaborators, and also potentially journal editors. Of course, we can always invite, the journal editors come to our workshops and talk to our researchers. We can do that. And right, milestone, I mean, really stick to have very good plan, because research ideas, if you not keep up with research ideas and get research ideas tested and using the data, then it become very quickly to become outdated, because one research idea, the research direction, the people identify the research direction, that everyone just they all do that. Do for example, like sustainability, for example, such as artificial intelligence, has been already, even so, it's been already there for 2 years now. The large language model being researched for 2 years now. So potential, of course, we also need to mitigate the potential risk, because of research idea out of date, and mitigate strategy. If you identify your research idea already out of dated, and also focus on the paper in that area, because for any reasons you have not, you didn't get sent out for journal review, then you probably just give it out. Yeah, then you then allocate your time for more fresh idea. So that's how you allocate your time. And not every paper you want to just stick to. Then even the old stories, the old topics and old project, which no longer interest to any journals, and you still it's just not the strategy approach. You just give it up and start a new idea, and make sure that because we want to publish it in the top journals, good journals, then the journal judge us just by contribution, to just whether the idea findings are novel, right? So yeah, so this is the quite important to make decisive decision and make sure that future research direction is really relevant and important, significant to the in 1 or 2 years time, and also then if the current projects no longer viable, just give it up. Then the of course to publish into the top produce a top journal, top publications, need range of the skills. The not just deep finding research gaps and deep thinking and research, getting good research questions, and also we need, for example, a new data, how to get new data. You've got brilliant idea, got how to get new data, now, for example, like AI replaced the workforce, and how AI influenced the improved efficiency within the banking sector, or how AI or the replace the workforce. So a lot of research now on this. I've seen working papers and go to conferences, people present papers. For example, the finance researchers, they got the job market, all the postings, they start analyzing the data. So that's this data are possible, very possible, using Python, to get this data. So this is it's a highly competitive field, the research, especially in our field, the social sciences and management. So a lot of submissions, and space is limited. So that's why it's quite common to get rejected. But just to avoid that, then we really need to make sure our research question is really fresh and new, relevant, important, significant. And yes, then I mean, we need skills to get data. We need skills to analysis data to get all. One of the major criteria for reviewers and editors to judge the paper is method rigorous. So how to improve our own skills, and or potentially just teamworking, and teamworking. So it is through various the means that we improve ourselves. Train ourselves, learn a new method, attending a conference, and learn from others, and learn from the team, build up team. So this will be the approach we should take. I mean, just stick to your old, the old method. Probably they are no longer quite relevant to the top journals or the data. The research method developing also fast. And I know a lot of young ECRs researchers, they learn all these new techniques, and they try to get the new data set, not from the regular textual structured data. They try to get the unstructured data and construct new research questions and answer the testing the new hypothesis. So these are quite important. And of course, here we have the internal support, and I think our faculty, our school has done quite well, and we have the regular seminars, we have the writing groups, and we have the idea session, and so on. So this new idea will be, you present a new idea. Why not just attend it's weekly, isn't it? Bi-weekly. No, I mean the new idea, research idea. Monthly, yes. Why not just present your new idea, see what's the feedback on the new idea? That's quite important. I think we have these facilities in place to support. Of course, other supports might be needed, but if you research, I think questions is really interesting, helpful, really interesting. Of course, I mean, I think team building is very important. Yes, some people really good at scraping data, get whatever data available, so long as they are available online, and you can, construct unstructured data and testing research idea. So just be brave, be collaborative, be imaginative, and I mean, use all the the seminars and workshops and writing clubs and so on. I mean, just take advantage of this, and they are there, very useful. Yeah. And right, okay. So of course, this is needs to be more concrete. And not, this is how to write for the top journals. From our discipline, basically, it is more on storytelling. Yes, though we have some, some papers are on theory, just theory itself, contribution, either economics or the finance, just the theory. So all the management, but majorly, most of research are storytelling, and very important. Of course, then we need to identify issues, research gaps, and also why this matter. And in many cases, I mean, our of course, this involves writing. Storytelling involves writing. That's a skills that need to be developed. And in many cases, people think, the editor, reviewers said the contribution it is incremental or is marginal. Sometimes the authors are not convinced by the comments. They think my research is quite, have unique contribution, but it didn't articulate well. So its writing skills is quite important. So that need to be trained, and also I think, of course, to practice. So I think that should be part of the portfolio, developing your skills, not just analytical skills and also writing skills. So they and also the whole thing here is about how to make your contribution distinctive. Important, powerful contribution paragraphs. That's how your paper will be judged. Contribution first, then the methodology. So it's very important. Your writing skills need to be developed in addition to, for example, like analytic skills and other skills. In the end, how do we communicate our ideas, contribution to the readers, So that's a skills that need to be developed. And just a few slides about identified research gaps crucial to the top journal publications, top publication output is the novel research. But how to identify the novel research, and how can we guarantee our evidence on new knowledge? New knowledge, of course, they're based on the vast, based on the knowledge of existing literature. First of all, we need to be really familiar with our field, the literature, and then know the gaps within the literature and the potential issues within the theory and in theory. So then, and also there are sometimes the contribution, some contribution are actually either theory breakthrough or the new research findings or new stories telling or setting, or methodology breakthrough. So it is one of these. It will be make your paper potentially into the top journals. We've seen quite a lot of this. For example, some not every paper just have the breakthrough. The theory breakthrough is very difficult. It's not easy unless it is management field, management journals. They quite a lot, many papers, quite a lot of papers. They have the contribution. They design a new method, a new theory, have contribution to theory. In our field, for example, accounting finance here, we basically extend the existing theory, potential integrating the theories and in unique story setting, providing new evidence or answer new research questions. So this is, we need to consider what actually uniquely distinctiveness in this project before we make a start. And so this is the things to consider in new knowledge impact contribution that we need to consider when it comes to to consider a project or before we make a start with the project. Then the theory contribution, for example, we can potentially argue we have late theory contributions theory because we identify a new mechanism for this relationship to underlying mechanisms that support this relationship. So these are the potential contribution to theory, and but majorly our discipline we're more integrating theories or developing new contrasts such as new index. We develop a new index such as, for example, like cybersecurity risk. For example, even ESG rating. Originally, ESG rating just a rating, yes or no, and then it's just measure disclosure, yes or no. Then later there are other measures, just measure the activities, but now there are more complicated ESG rating. The other research developed, so it is a progress. So then, if you have design a new index, something new compared to the past index, then it will be that that index is actually your contribution to literature. So that's the quite important. So this is probably the reason why we see a lot of papers actually derive the index, such as, for example, climate risk index and so on. Yeah. Then we also need to make sure that our research have impact, which are not just impact on the policy and also impact on the practice. It's not easy, but that need to be in our include in our study when we design our research project. And more and more, the publishers and also the journal rankings, they include impact as one of the major criteria, such as ABS journal ranking. This time, they include impact in for ranking a journal. The impacts, for example, starting from the authorship. Author, if you have the author, for example, international author, that you've got the journal get credit, and journal will get credit for include author of industry or the government. So these are potentially you collaborate not just with the academic, also collaborate with non-academics, and also more and more we adopt the DORA, adopt DORA, the publisher adopt DORA, and also organizations and universities signed for DORA, and we're moving that direction, but it just takes a long time, and gradually, not sure the journal ranking, the journal will be more on impact rather than citation, but they're moving there, they're moving towards that, but the journey is going to be long. So then the impact research will be important, especially for REF assessment. So we need to consider whether our work has impact, and this work can potentially lead to the research funding. We can apply for funding, and well, of course, this is not the scope of this talk, but it is connected. When we apply for funding, we need to demonstrate we have the publication in this field to show our credibility in this area we will apply for funding for. So they need to be, we need to design our own package research portfolio, potentially not just publishing top journals, and also potentially to the funding, the funded projects. So this is that also means your research questions really, leading, because you research idea, research project, you can get funding, you can get funds to support in research that basically is going to have research impacts and for policies, industry, and society. So it's the impact is going to be very important criteria for our future research, as research, not just journal ranking, also assess our research output. Identify research gaps and non-research questions. That's the key to top journal, top publications. Well, we really need to know the really well what our own field, the literature and debate, and also so once you have a deep knowledge about what's going on within the literature, and you can then question what's actually lacking and what can be improved, what research question has not been answered, and so on. And so that's the step must be taken, and to identify the research gaps and contradictory theory gaps, and also the new phenomenon, what's going on in the society, what's new. For example, like years ago, there was research identified, for example, like at the beginning, for example, we all know there was discrimination in terms of gender, but the first research evidence demonstrate there was systematic discrimination against for example, women, employees, in terms of leadership, in terms of the wage, and so on. That's the first evidence. That's the the leading. This paper not published in the top journals, the UTD, and also the it attracts about the few thousand, 30,000 citations. So I mean, so we need to know the gaps and the missing gaps within the literature and the theory, and well, to develop that, you know really well the literature debate and so far, and so that's the efforts time need to be paid for to develop this research insight. Then so generates research questions and detect gaps earlier. So this again, this we said this already. Of course, how to develop this? I mean, it's not just reading literature yourself and communicate with others, presenting work, receive the critical comments and the conferences, and basically presenting paper, presenting work, communicate, talk to others. Quite important. Yeah, talk. Just talk with another, and in addition to reading journals, reading papers, then talk and also read the most updated papers, for example, publishing SSRN, and also go to conference. That's the most recent research, because the published paper probably already 2 years old. So to stay ahead of others, and go to conferences and learn from others, and get identify the recent trend, and the new research questions emerging, and think about whether that'll be something you will want, you would like to develop. Right. So yeah. So I mean, of course, this is more on publication, but just briefly mention that, yes, okay, consider what journal to submit. I think at the beginning, you probably should have a plan already. This idea we only target 4, or this idea we target 3. So you have your portfolio clearly. And then you read journals and get the samples, papers, and know the trend and styles, and then you write around, develop research, develop project and write around around those a few journals. So this is the, how do you target submissions, submission strategies. And well, we also need to develop resilience and handle, we expect a paper will be rejected at some stage, and some paper, of course, eventually will get through to publication stage. But rejection is it is normal, isn't it? It is part of it's usual. It's not because the paper is not that brilliant, but because very important factor now here these days are the submission. There's a large amount of submission, too many submissions. For example, each journal usually is just quarterly or weekly. Each issue only can publish about 8-10 papers. So each journal, one quarterly journal, can only publish about less than 40 papers, but submissions 4,000. 4,000, for example, like IGIP is 4,000, like financial research letters 8,000. For example, BGM is 1,600. BAR is about similar, and JSF is 1,300. So this is amount, but it can only publish just less than just 50 papers. But then computation is high. What does it mean? They can only select the best papers among the 4,000 submissions. So many papers are actually quite similar in terms of ideas and topics. For example, sustainability, CO2 emissions, or CO2 or the non-financial disclosure. So they are similar. So how your paper stand out from the crowd? It's not easy. It's not difficult. So that's why the paper got rejected. It's not because you're not doing a good job. It's because competition is so high. So that's what I'm saying. So you got to make sure your idea is new, fresh, and also your research method is rigorous. Then enable your paper to move into review process. Currently, that rejection is in the range of about 70-90. That rejection can be as high as up to 80%. That's rejection rate. That rejection rate is high. Again, when it's not already in submitted the journals, so it is just not quite novel topics. So, and then luckily, if you move into the review process, that's congratulations, really. Yeah. And so, of course, you really need to consider how to improve, maybe just add more dimension to this existing projects, so enable you to move forward. Because if you people get that rejected by one of the, for example, ABS3 journal, similar journal, probably get that rejected if you submit to another journal, say, at the same level. But the judgment will be the same. But really, this is more on publication. It's not focused today. And usually, this will be the rejection reasons. They will ask one of the reasons, for example, out of scope doesn't mismatch submit to one journal. Lack of novelty, originality, that's contribution. So that's why so important. We need to make sure from day one, your project, you consider carefully whether the research question is new, fresh, significant, and yes, it's significant. Significant is one of the important measures. It's not just because a new finding or first finding. First finding, new finding doesn't mean it is contribution. contribution means the first new finding also significant. The finding is significant, meaningful. It means it is contribution. So when we think about, yes, it's a novel idea maybe, but why this novel idea is so important? Yeah, could be novel idea, could be your first doing this research, but it doesn't mean this actually still not usually that case. So it has to be both. The first and new and also significant, relevant. Right. So so this is all should be into our consideration when we design our research portfolio. So what are the really important research question, new and resolved issues we're going to answer? Consider that before jump into analysis and writing up papers. If we want to target top journal, right? So so this is the reason that's rejected. That's rejection. Then it's back to our, we each of us have got their own research expertise, our own identity. Yes, we should build on our research strengths and expand research strengths. And this our research identity, we consider with our research theme, sustainability, for example, or the disclosure, or the other, for example, behavior, economics, or the methodology strength. What is methodology strength? Maybe very good at machine learning. Yes. So you got to if not, I mean, especially our ECRs, I strongly encourage you start learn the machine learning, deep learning, or this large language model give you very, very good instrument or the tools enable you to not just analyze data and also can get the data, unstructured data, and for the new research ideas, important research ideas. So I'm strongly encourage our ECRs make a start if you have not done so. Right. We consider how we're going to make our research work distinctive, standing from the crowds, develop further. And of course, that's why we have the research areas. We started from maybe just very narrow corporate finance, capital structure, and so on, but gradually move on to behavioral finance, financial market, or related topics. That's why, because we extend our research identity, we extend our research scope. So, but that extension should be based on whether that direction is still going to be meaningful, significant. Without that clear idea, and be careful without any move, yes, into next in other topic areas. Right. So basically overall, we just need to make sure that they consider our research within the the broad field, and our work has this distinct, unique contribution and unique ideas in the contribution. Yeah, stand out from the others. And just one or two contribution would be enough. Yeah, would be enough. Just identify. Maybe if this first and significant baseline result would be great, and if it's not new, and you can identify the mechanism or the moderation mechanism, or this also be great. Yeah. So that's the it needs to be unique data, unique idea to get into the top journals. Yes, it is identify the of those gaps and address the address the unresolved research questions, and so then our contribution to literature, potentially to theory, is the significant to to guarantee warrant a position or place in the top journals. Then we have the the methodology, data, and theory. Within the portfolio of your research, we got to consider what series actually we are going to theory will be for our this portfolio research portfolio, and whether there are some research, the theoretical tension, and also integrated several theory to address our research questions. So this either you have breakthrough in this particular theory, or there are debate or theory, theory tension debate. Using your data, you can address the to resolve the tension potentially. So reviewing the mechanism, and also if it is really novel, you just develop a concept model. Concept model is simply just model itself. Yeah, so without theory foundation, then no journals would accept. So it is the theory foundation is the key for developing research hypothesis, and lay great foundation for the further research, for the further data analysis. So the theory framework, what theory going to for example, like focus on for this portfolio research is also should be considered carefully. Of course, once you identify those, then consider, well, if any theory then can advance the theory, or we integrating the theory, or any theory attention that's leading to further research questions, and apply data to data. Data is probably very important because we're doing quantitative analysis, and just structured data, just annual report, it is nowadays become not that it's not because we use the structured data resolve or answer many research questions, specific research questions. Of course, there are something new, but now we have other structured data available. So that's what I want to make a suggestion. And these unstructured data available, then should develop the skills and to get the data. And it's already with the unique data, you probably already halfway towards the top some unique data published all the top journals, for example, like site visit by analyst, for example, the Grasper data published about the top 8 journals, including Management Science, or top counting journals, and or some others like the newspaper Plant Closer in the US, the grass-based data, the plant so these are the unique data set, they collected and tested the research questions that published in the UTD journals. So I mean, we need to be really alert on what's going on in academia, and look at attending the conference, know what other research are doing, what the data used, what is the question, what is and also and also you know from their research, you know the data. Okay, these are data they currently interested in and they're using, and you could potentially along those routes you could potentially get more and even go beyond. It's quite important. This long with the data, then halfway to of the success. And research profile, visible research profile, going to conferences and present internally research ideas, and also go out, present to the conferences and get good feedbacks and collaborate, you know, network with the peers and senior researchers, and active in, you know, the discussions at conferences, review for journals, for journals. And it's a learning process as well, at the same time. It's a learning process. Is academic is crucial. It's quite important. It is connection with peers, connection with senior, connection with editors, and collaboration, connecting with the collaborators, potential collaborators. Many collaboration is derived from the, you know, conference. You know, when you presenting to the same setting, the same session, wow, say, wow, yes, let's talk. Okay, your research I'm interested. Or you, yeah, okay, you are interested in my research. Potentially we can get some better good idea. Can we work together? So many collaboration is through the conference, you know, people meeting with one another. So it's quite important. You just need to be active. Be active all aspects. Well, this, I think it's just a sort of a summary. A 3-year development timeline. Basically, when we say 3 years, 3 years is not enough for developing a solid portfolio, you know, framework, the structure. But then, of course, developing the paper itself, you have portfolio. Some probably can get to the, you know, are maybe publication stage within 3 years, but some are still developing over the 3 years. But these 3 years, these things, you know, the putting together into portfolio then enable you lay good solid foundation for future years, even for future years. For example, like 3 years, 12 months roadmap, for example, like you have portfolio against portfolio. It is, for example, one is just tier 1 publication, tier 2 publication, and so on. Developing projects. It is the you have portfolio, and also you have the stage progress for each of the paper in the portfolio. So that's the what we want to say. So it's a 12-month roadmap, 3 tiers goal structure, achievable paper, and developing projects, development project. So it is you know, the one move above based on the previous steps. So move on. Yeah, okay. So yeah, and also you get feedback with and the peer review, informal presentation, and also you have really a good you know, the milestones. Rather than we all be busy with not just you know, research. We have other you know, you know, the commitment such as teaching, and such as some colleagues have having admin workloads, and but still we need to find time. And also we set our own targets, time milestones, each of the projects, a key pace, I mean, step by step, and gradually at the end of 3 years will be there. And strategy, you know, the year 2 is really develop deeper and develop deeper and further in our own you know research stage. preparing for you know, top journal research publication. And at that time, during that stage, really into literature gaps and debates and theory potential, other integration or address attention and so on. So method, again, at this stage, really developed quite solid, clearly what sort of like very powerful research method will be implemented, and make sure that resources available. I mean, in terms of the technical member team actually are there. Yes. So yeah, collaboration is very encouraged, and also these days journal not just publish within its field, publish more and more the interdisciplinary, such as we see a lot. For example, financial law, financial labor, see a lot. Just by state shareholder theory, there's no longer, you know, be interested, because research question is limited and it's being addressed. So it's more beyond this multidisciplinary these days. For example, we see a lot of paper, top journal publication, culture, yes, law, for example, labor, and yes, in the top finance accounting journals, and of course, similar to econ and other disciplines, it's all integrated, interdisciplinary. And yes, easier we target for, you know, something like the top, you know, a 3-granted journal, we should almost get ready, get published. Yeah. And of course, this package, you know, this portfolio, the year 3 at this stage, while you're developing from day 1, and for the top 4, you know, for journal publications, submit to the very good conferences, like those top journal, you know, the conferences, ideally with discussant, because discussants going to give you very good, you know, the comments which you can develop further on that base. So then at this stage, ideally, you know, over 3 years now, the one target top journal paper should be developed or quite ready for submission. So all this, you know, starting from, you know, identifying own research, you know, identity, developing research proposal, identify new research question, or even new research direction or portfolio, and developing skills, and set up the teams, set up a joint team, or set up team or joint team, and you know, also be active, and all this all work together. Then eventually, I mean, at year 3, should have the 2 papers ready for, I mean, one maybe already R&R, and even approaching the final stage of the acceptance, ABS 3, and another paper is preparing for 4 and ready for submission, and maybe one of the small paper, 2 journal already. So it's, you have portfolio, yeah. Then yeah, you have the portfolio. Right. So very important writing contribution. Writing skills need to be improved, not just analytic skills and the thinking skills, you know, critical thinking skills to identify research question, new direction, and also analytic skills, and make sure that research methods rigorous and include strong research team member who are very strong in methodology, and also writing skills is crucial to this. I mean, even though you have brilliant research, you know, research findings are brilliant breakthrough to but you cannot deliver that to the audience or readers. It's not successful stories. So the writing skills is important. And again, managing portfolio here, managing portfolio pipelines, very important pipelines. We need pipelines. So pipelines enable us to, continuous progressing towards our target. Yeah, and manage your pipeline rather than it's, once you've got really busy, especially very busy, you have teaching marks, marks, assignments and so on. You then drop off from the research. Probably it's not a good idea. You got to keep up with your plan to then enable all your plan within the 3 years plan to be achieved or meet target at the end of the year 3. So really need to very good management skills to manage your research project skills, managing time. Well, yes, this is the just maybe we should have three papers in portfolio. Yes, if you have in collaboration with others, maybe make sure that you have all this portfolio in papers, working in parallel together. Yeah, so really needs good plan and working groups and working on the pipelines. Yeah. Well, in the end, right, because it's all about motivation, and we should be confident ourselves and celebrate on achievement, and also reflect on our issues. And at the end of the day is yes, okay, we have rejections, but so what? We then move on because we got rejected, we got very good comments, and then we revise our paper based on those comments and submit to a good journal. It's very possible. It's very possible, but so long as you can get through the review, that's rejection process. That's rejection process. Then that'll be good news. Then potentially get an R. Oh, we're going to get very good review report. They enable you to improve the paper. But still, so that's all good. So just be confident in yourself and also resilient and right. So I think yeah, basically I think that's all I want to say at this moment. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jay. Do we have any questions? And before we begin, I just want to make it clear, I'm recording the session online. The people online have agreed to this. But just to be clear, if you ask a question, you won't hear visually in the recording, but your audio may come out. So if you're not comfortable with that, maybe ask Gia a question after we finish recording. With that in mind, if anyone would like to ask a question and doesn't mind appearing on the recording, please feel free to do so.
So, just all these recommendations are both for qualitative and quantitative papers. I think it's quite the general approach, isn't it?
Indeed, a general approach. These days, even quantitative research, we've been asked by reviewers to provide qualitative analysis, basically go there to interview people. Yeah, so that's coming now. So it applies both qualitative, quantitative, and mixed method. Thank you.
Yes, I heard of something you call the New Ideas Monthly Seminar. New Ideas Monthly Seminar or workshop that you organize.
Oh, I did.
In our school, Joe organized this.
Like a company.
Yeah.
Ah,
And it's a good model, and I would recommend
Yeah.
wider adoption. Yeah.
So am I allowed to free again?
You're welcome to come. Yeah,
Yeah.
drop me a line and I can add you to.
Indeed, yes.
But bear in mind, the content will be county economics and finance.
Can't.
That's the health.
About the same.
Okay.
You mentioned one of the slides about that to ensure that the work is replicated.
Yes.
Um, As a reviewer, I mean, how would you ensure that the repeatability of the work? Because you will have to test with the same parameters and get this different results. So you need to actually, I mean, what would be your tips to ensure replicability?
That's very good question to actually. You know, these days, more and more, there is just Management Science published a review paper about replicability. It has quite astonishing figures, shows that more than half of the research cannot be replicated. Yes, so that's quite worrying. But so this is the reason why we are considering now to implement you know, this policy request. All data should be submitted, all data unless it's confidential, but that you need to declare and give the good reason. And any, you know, it's about transparency and consistency and quality of research. And if the paper only limited to its own sample, limited to a few selected, you know, a group of population, then this research is really limited. So we need to make sure it's being replicatable, means can be tested by other data set. From the baseline result still should still hold. So it's different data set, different setting. So this of course, how to guarantee that? It usually will be the author itself, make sure the data selection, especially when you define the data sample, make sure that will be replicatable by the other authors using their own data, their own setting. We cannot actually assess the replicability of each paper, but if some author requests the data from the publishing author, then publishing author supply the data. If not data, then but that's reproducible. The result can be reproducible. But some we receive such complaint already. For example, right? So using exact the same method, same variable, everything same, they cannot replicate results as a published paper. Hence, the question. As a question. So then the publisher trying to address this at the moment. So that's become, you know, that Management Science paper is quite alarming, and very good question, you know, the question and comments here. But we just need to make sure our sample selection, when we, you know, section 3, when we select our sample for study, we need to make sure that our results later can be replicated by other data set and other setting. Especially for the top journals. That's crucial, yeah. Because authors, readers can ask for the data at any time. They can criticize the research at any time.
Okay, so you talked about the novelty and yes, and but I just want to make sure that novelty does not necessarily mean that the data has to be new, because I've seen papers in top journals who are based on data collected 20 years ago. It's one. But the focus is focus on the framing and the implications are always very current and novel.
Yeah, indeed, I totally agree. Yes, it's a research question, are novel and relevant and significant. Data can be old and can be just structured data, just can be annual report, but research question is new, because new phenomena, new social issues. So then post new research questions. So it's through new research question, to be honest, it's more through observations and you understanding what's going on within the society. Yeah, thank you for these comments. Yeah.
Anything else online? I've put something in the chat if you want to ask a question or in the room.
I have a question which is about quantitative research mainly on the site. That sometimes I see a lot of people that look doesn't really have a described question, but look on the data in analysis for results that are unexpected, and then they try to build the research question back to try to find an explanation for what do you think about that?
I think that's not, I think we should, first of all, have good research questions before we actually go on to test, rather than the other way around, and try to establish a relationship, then and go back to theory and identify the relationship. Well, it's not difficult to establish correlation between any data, any two variables, and related variable. If you regression them with one another, you still can get significant result, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So we should, starting from the theory and starting from research questions, the research question must be backed up by the theory. Otherwise, that research question cannot be established. This is quite often the reviewers' comments more and more on this, because in these days it's not just one, it's interdisciplinary, multiple stakeholders, multiple actors in the research questions, and usually authors just try to use different theories or multiple theories, but cannot logical develop from a theory for this hypothesis, make then the reviewers always questioning the relationship of baseline result. Hypothesis one, it does not exist, even though it's comprehensive quantitative analysis, all the endogeneity issues being resolved or dealt with. I just cannot convince the reviewers there is a relationship between X and Y. So I would suggest from the theory, starting theory. Theory supports the hypothesis, then move on to data. Without that, even if they identify the significance, statistical significance doesn't mean economic significance. Doesn't mean is the X and Y relationship exists. A lot of comments, a lot of rejections.
Firms are looking for pre-registration quantitative analysis, so you have to, or you even do the data collection for exactly what hypotheses you're going to test. So I think those data mining days are more challenging.
Questions about surveillance. But you mentioned mixed method, you mentioned interdisciplinary research, and indeed a lot of editors talk about that. And, but then interdisciplinary papers are very difficult to assess and so to find the right viewers. And I say, I'm also in an editorship role, and they're very a headache. I mean, you cannot find reviewers who are say, interdisciplinary now, or that are confident to get the combination of methods, and I see that they are not easy to get through. When you tend to have conflict between reviewers, because different disciplines will have different views of the paper. So, and in my experience, every time I had a mixed method papers, it has been extremely difficult to get through, and I can understand why. So, what is your experience? How do you manage when you get a mixed method interdisciplinary paper?
Right, as you said, it's not easy to get reviewers. never mind about the interdisciplinary, just on the pure, the discipline, it's difficult to get reviewers, especially given a large amount of submissions. That's the reason why we have so many desk rejections. But even so, but the thing is that, yes, that's also the reason why it takes so long for the review process to is very long than expected, and usually long than expected. That's the reason, because difficult to find reviewers. But still, we still can find reviewers in the end, even though it's interdisciplinary, because this paper is most of paper is not the first, actually. It is it's been done in the past. So there are somebody have already done this research. So that these people can potentially be reviewers. And apart from their busy schedule, they would usually accept the reviewer invitation. But in response to you, for example, if this interdisciplinary one reviewer is in this display, the other in other display, and then how to reconcile. Yeah, indeed. So this is the reason we're really careful finding reviewers, make sure that reviewers can potentially assess both disciplines, because they have publication in both areas. But if that's not possible, then of course, one in one discipline, the other in other discipline, but we have the third reviewers, which potentially, depending on how many reviewers for that journal. If one, will be difficult to assess the multidisciplinary research. If it's two, well, they've got wider scope of wider, the assessment.
No, my question was more if it would be consider how complicated that is and how can extend the process of review. If it's not better for people doing interdisciplinary research to parcel it and clearly anchor it in one discipline when having a publishing strategy, rather than trying to get the interdisciplinary project there.
Yeah,
it adds value in the interdisciplinary thing that compensates the potential delays.
Potential delay. Yeah, there will be delay in this case, but then usually invite several reviewers to ensure that all aspects of the paper will be reviewed. So even though it's just one discipline, that review focus on one discipline, but the reviewer would normally say, I can only focus on this side, but that side, quantitative side, is not my expert. But then we also find a review which is specialized in quantitative analysis, so he can assess the quantitative analysis side. So it's a combination.
No, did you understand?
Yeah,
I say as a strategy, it wouldn't be more practical just to focus on the quantitative or the qualitative separately, or in one discipline. I mean,
Yes.
and avoid the more.
Yeah, I mean, that depends on your own research method. For example, we basically just focus on quantitative, but some qualitative research only focus on qualitative. But also some mixed method researchers. There are some mixed method researchers, so then they are using mixed method. So then we so still being encouraged and still can find reviewers to. So it is the answer to the question, or
No, it is. I mean,
you want to say whether this should be encouraged interdisciplinary research? It's more interdisciplinary research apart from the methodology. It's more interdisciplinary in terms of the domains. For example, finance would not very connected with labor, very connected to law. That's how we develop our research at the moment. Yeah, these days. So that we interdisciplinary into different domains of these areas. In terms of method, we're still quantitative. it's quantitative. I think we stick to the quantitative.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Last questions? Not, I think we will thank Gia very much for her time and expertise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Online.
Sum up.